Sorry. So good morning, and to our friends joining us abroad, good evening. I am your host, Christy Edelhuber. Welcome to Mirage Talks. Today, we welcome the founder and managing director at the Entrepreneurship Center at Tel Aviv University. He is a highly involved activist and sits on the boards of 4 social ventures. He is an entrepreneur and joined the university following a successful 30-year executive management career in the high-tech industry. He is here to discuss and ask the question, what is your problem? And how to identify the market need. Yair Sakov, thank you for being here. Let's get started. Yair, you need to unmute.
Yep, that will help. So again, good morning, good evening, and thank you, Christy, for a great introduction. Pleasure and honored to be here. As Christy said, I want to talk about identifying the problem, or if you like, one of the key issues that entrepreneurs struggle with is understanding a market problem. Let's just jump into it. I see that we have quite an intimate session here, so I'm going to ask questions, and would love to have you guys open your microphones and just shout your answers. Because of the display mode, actually, hold on for a second. I need to share it again because I'm also sharing sound and optimization for video. I can't actually see you at all. So just, shout your answers, get your voice up, and we'll go from there. So let's start. Startups, you're starting in you even get funded. What do you guys think are the chances of success for startups?
Low.
Low is a good figure. You want to quantify that?
It defines success.
Success meaning ability to actually create a mature company, self-sustained, hopefully listed on NASDAQ or something like that, or being acquired by someone. Failure meaning we close the company. So
1 in 100.
Yeah, so the chances are fairly low. So a survey done by Startup Genome, one of the market research companies following this market, says that within 3 years, 92% of startups fail. Other people look at say that only 1 to 3% actually succeed, or 5%. But anyway, I think one of you guys said low. Low is a very good number. And the question is why? Why do startups fail? Any thoughts on the line here? You must have some ideas. Why do startups fail?
Lack of experience in marketing.
Lack of experience in marketing, maybe other subjects,
I
other reasons.
think that the number one reason startup fail is they run out of money.
Interesting. So that's actually a good lead to the next slide. By the way, I can't see the chat. So just Christy, if you want to read that to me from time to time, or people just give me your questions. This is
many reasons. Building the
Okay.
team is very important for a startup. I mean, something that.
Yes, absolutely. So CBA Insights is a company that runs a survey every couple of years of the top 20 reasons startup fail. I'm not showing the whole 20. One of you guys said run out of cash. I'll actually hold off on that for a second. I want to look at the second reason. The second reason stated here, by the way, so it's no market need. And for many years that CBA Insight had this survey, no market need was number one. This 2021 was the first time that no market need went into number 2. And really it shows you the power of the problem. The problem is that many startups studying a company and realizing that they're solving a problem which is not a problem. And this is, as you can see, one of the most common reasons of startup failure is that they realize that actually they solved a problem which is not a problem. There is no market need. And then, when I have someone come to me, and I spent many years as a VC in the venture capital industry, seeing thousands of startups. So when I have an entrepreneur come to me and said, Yair, I have an idea for a startup, what I actually hear is, Yair, I have an idea for a product. And really, no one really cares about your product unless you can identify a real market need. Now, interestingly enough, one of you guys said, ran out of cash. What does it mean, ran out of cash? Anyone wants to interpret that? What does that mean, ran out of cash?
So many times you begin a company with an idea and you're thinking of solving a market need, you fund it, and then along the development of the product or service, you need to make a lot of adjustments. And through that journey of making adjustment to make sure you fit the market, sometimes you need more money than you originally thought.
Okay, so you go out and raise more money. Why can't you get more money?
Well, then the challenges of meeting that solving the problem become more complex.
No, I mean, look, if I identify a real market need, I should be able to raise more funds. Really, the story here is that, let's say I start a company, and I identify a market need, and I go to meet with investors, and I present them with the market need identified. And they look at the problem and say, wow, this is a real market need. And they make all their due diligence and talk to their friends and colleagues and industry influencers and so forth. And they come to the conclusion that, wow, this is really a market need. And they said, well, here's a $3 million. Take the next 2 years and then start working. It sounds great. Good luck. So I'm working on it with my team, and after about 1.5 years, I'm starting to raise my second round, because typically you need about 6 months to raise funds. So if I have my funds for 2 years, I will start raising after 1.5 years. And I come to my investors and said, look, we've executed exactly per plan. Everything that we planned that we were going to do, our prototype is advancing. We're about to launch it in 2 years as we promised. The budget is well managed. I really spent on the cent. Everything, is just perfect. And now I need to raise more funds to move on. So, 1.5 years has passed, and I need to get more funds to move on. And they look at me and they said, no, we're not going to fund you anymore. Why would they do that? Anyone? Well, let me help you. Well, it's because they realized they made a mistake. 1.5 years ago, I presented them with a market need. They've done the research, but now 1.5 years has passed. And a lot of what they assumed is going to happen did not or did happen. And in 1.5 years later, they realized, hey, what we thought 1.5 years ago was not good. Actually, there is no market need. We thought there's a market need, but the environment has cleared up. 1.5 years has gone by. We know more what we've known 1.5 years ago. And you know what, Yair? There is no market need. So really, these two elements that are at the top of the list actually say the same thing. There is no market need. So we see the power of this and how many startups actually fail because they fail to recognize a real market need, because they fall in love with an idea or an opportunity instead of understanding a market need that needs to be resolved. So how do you identify a market need? Let's start with a quick video on that.
Many of us want to become entrepreneurs. Starting your own business is one of the biggest dreams of our times. But how do you get to be an entrepreneur? Most of the advice focuses on the practicalities, writing a business plan, raising money, finding staff, marketing and PR. We'll go down a different route. In our eyes, at the heart of successful entrepreneurship lies something oddly more abstract, an accurate insight into the causes of human unhappiness. To be an entrepreneur means essentially to become an expert in the things that make life difficult for people. That's because every properly ambitious business is in some way trying to fix things for other people. And the bigger and more original what you're trying to fix happens to be, the more successful your business can be. Because consumer society is now well developed, it may be easy to think that all the big problems out there already have thousands of fixes anyway. Think of all those car companies or pizza outlets or news websites. We surely have enough of everything. What could we possibly add to what's already out there? But to get a sense of the vast opportunities that still remain in capitalism, all you need to do is ask yourself where and in what areas you're unhappy in the course of an average day. Every unhappiness is really a new business waiting to be born. Your frustrations are a nearly inexhaustible source of raw materials out of which the businesses of the future can be built. So while there may already be plenty of breakfast cereals and t-shirts and cell phones and cab rides for sale, there's so much more that frustrates and depresses us. Think of how difficult it is to get on with one's partner, educate children, cope with anxiety, discover what you want to do with your life, find a nice place to live, calm down in the evening. One could go on and on. Our griefs and irritations are endless, thankfully for the budding entrepreneurs. The biggest first step to take towards entrepreneurship is therefore to learn to study your own unhappiness and what might possibly heal it for you and others. When profits decline in businesses, it's really the result of too many people throwing themselves at trying to fix the same area because they can't think of anything more innovative to do, rather than start a new airline, mobile phone company or supermarket chain. And by contrast, healthy profits are a reward for understanding and mastering an area of human distress ahead of anyone else. Of course, ideas aren't enough on their own. You need to take care of practicalities and money, but they won't help you if your original psychological insight into human unhappiness isn't sound. And by the same token, if your insight into what makes people unhappy is razor sharp, and your solutions bold, then however difficult the journey, your business will stand a high chance of making money and benefiting humanity too.
Okay, so what do we need to be successful in a startup? We need to find what?
A problem.
A problem, yes. By the way, when I click, did you guys see this black thing in the middle of the screen, or is it just me?
Yes, we see.
I see it.
Oh, okay, so I'll take it off. Okay, I was trying to see you guys, but I guess I can't. Okay. So yes, to be successful, if I can get my screen to move on. Yes, here it is. Okay. We need to identify a market pain, something which is painful, that causes people pain, that they understand that they have a problem, that they want to resolve the problem, that the current solutions on the market don't address their problem, that there is a gap from the current solution to where they want to be. They are aware of this gap, and they're actually willing to pay for this gap. So there are a lot of questions, but concerning customers. But the key for everything is really identify a problem or a real pain for people that we can solve with our startup. Another option is provide satisfaction. This really means, inventing something new that causes or brings some satisfaction or pleasantness to people. This is a more rare type of startup. I think most of the startups really start with a problem, identifying a market pain and need by customers. And clearly, if you don't have one of these two, look for another idea, look for another problem, look for something else to do, because as we saw earlier, if you do not identify a market problem, you probably are going to fail like most other startups. So why is it so difficult? Okay, why is it so difficult to identify a market problem? What I'd like to do now in the next few minutes is talk about some of the common challenges and mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they believe they found a market problem, and things they need to avoid or think about as they want to identify and define a real market problem or a real need that needs to be solved. The first challenge is really that by nature we are solution oriented. When we look at a problem, okay, we have an idea for a startup. How would we describe it? How would you describe it? Well, we typically describe it by describing the solution. So, once again, the story I said earlier, when a person comes to me and said, hey, I got an idea for a startup, what I hear is I have an idea for a solution. And they go on and say, look, I have an idea how to get to the moon real cheaply. And I was like, is there a line out there of people screaming and yelling, I want to get to the moon? No, but look, it's going to be real cheap. It's this vessel. It's instead of 5 legs, it's going to have 4 legs. And it's going to be colored in green. And I don't care what it looks like, but I don't see anyone looking for it. Yeah, but if you build it, it's going to be cheap. It'll come. No, if you don't identify a market need, no one is going to come. And the key issue is that the solution, the product is totally irrelevant unless we have an aching problem to solve, something that people are aware of, something which is acute. And if we come with a solution for that, we'll get from them, aha, wow, how come this wasn't here before? So the first challenge for an entrepreneur is really moving from the problem plane to the solution plane. Focus always on the solution. And this is one of the reasons why I tell the teams that come to me or a single entrepreneur, I tell them, look, find a team because I like you to work together as a team. And every time one of you guys on the team is starting to describe the solution, then another person on the team just need to slap him on the wrist and said, no, stop it. Don't talk about solutions. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Focus on the problem. Always focus on the problem. In the words of Albert Einstein, he said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. And really, if we define the problem very accurately, and if we have a good problem, the solution is very clear. It's interesting that Einstein said this probably, about 100 years ago, but it's very, very relevant today because today, if you go and talk to most of the successful venture capitalists or the investors, your solution isn't interesting. They're not concerned about technology. We today live in an age where there is rarely something that we can't really develop or do with technology or any other way. So getting a product is really not a problem. The problem, the challenge for an entrepreneur is identifying a sustainable market problem. There are a lot of stories about that. One of them is kind of a joke on Colgate that had this product a while ago, and this also comes from the place where people, I guess a marketing manager out there thought to themselves, look, we're Colgate, we're doing toothpaste, we're doing toothbrushes, we're in the area, the vicinity of people's mouth. Hey, here's a great idea for a product. We'll have a Colgate lasagna. Clearly, this product failed. But it also stems from the same area where people are focused on the solution versus on what is the problem. In the same area, another phenomena that we typically see is what we call, what happened? How do I get out of this? Okay. It's what we call the ugly baby syndrome. What is the ugly baby syndrome? Well, imagine a relative of yours, having her baby. And, she's maybe a week or two after giving birth, and there is this family gathering, and she's coming there with the stroller and the baby in it. And, she's all very, very excited and very happy. And, nothing we can really do about this, but newborns are typically, very kind of squashed, and sometimes they don't look very well. But of course, this young girl comes to you and points at her baby and says, oh, doesn't she look wonderful? Isn't she great? And you can look at her one look and want to take a step back because she's so frightening the way she looks. But what would you say? You say, of course, yeah, she's wonderful. She's beautiful. She's so great. This is what happens for many entrepreneurs. They come and they present their idea to family and friends, and people feel uncomfortable saying, look, this is really a stupid idea, And what they'll say, well, it's a great idea. Yeah, I should really go focus on that and research that. Yeah, go for it. Once again, it's something we should avoid. Should avoid falling in love in our ideas, and which are typically product ideas. and move into, once again, move from the solution plane to the problem plane and try and understand the problem. The second challenge or mistake entrepreneurs make is that when you define a solution, you really define the problem, you really define a pair, a problem-customer pair, because a problem is not just a generic problem. A problem belongs to a certain group of people, to a certain very well-defined set of customers. Look, for example, do you think someone buying a Rolex really cares about the time? Anyone?
No.
No, not really. What they care about is to show off, their well-being and their wealth and everything. For all practical purposes, the watch can be actually, faulty. It wouldn't even work. Doesn't matter. The fact that I have a $40,000 watch on my hand, that's a statement I want to show everyone. So clearly, when I have a product which is Rolex, it very well defines a set of customers. I'm not going to sell Rolex in, Walmart or one of the stores like that. Of course, I'm going to sell it in a specific place where people, high net worth people, are shopping and looking for watches. So when I define a problem, I actually define a pair of a problem and a customer. They go together. And I think I need to, in my definition of the problem, I need to very well identify who is the customer. Now, identifying the customer sometimes is not that easy. Sometimes we get confused. I'll show just a quick example, kind of a fun example.
A chilled treat for the whole family. Kinder Milk Slice. A deliciously fluffy, milky filling infused with a hint of honey, sandwiched between two sponge layers. Kinder Milk Slice, delightfully chilled.
So, who's the customer for a milk slice? Anyone? Who's the customer for milk slice?
The mom.
The mother. Okay. Anyone else? Why do you think the mom is the customer?
The child.
She's buying. She's buying.
So that's exactly correct. She's buying. First of all, the customer is always the person who's buying the product. The child is a user. Okay. She can also be an influencer. But really, the customer is the buyer, is the mother. And let's listen to the ad. And the ad, first of all, the name of the product, it's called Milk Slice. And what it says in the ad, a deliciously fluffy, milky filling infused with a hint of honey. I'm a great mom. I'm giving my daughter milk. It's milk. It's all about milk. Yeah, it has some chocolate around it. But I'm a really great mom because I'm feeding my kids milk, which is healthy, which is good for them. Hey, and it has a hint of honey. The ad is focused on the buyer, on the mom. Clearly, it also has some appeal to the users. But as we can see, when we define the product or we define the problem for that matter, we need to define also who are not just the customers, but also look at what we call the stakeholders. Because around that customer, the one that actually pays, there are other entities that may influence the decision, that actually may be the decision makers. They may try to sabotage the decision. So there are a lot of other entities that we need to take in account when we define our customer space. Who's missing on this picture? There is another entity. See, there is a white space here on the right. Who do you think is missing on this picture? Anyone want to try? Okay, so it's not the dad, because no one really cares about the dad, but it's really our partner. Okay, so once again, when we think about our problem, we need to think who are the customers and all the stakeholders around that. And another stakeholder here is the partner. We will not be able to sell Milk Slice if we don't have outlets to sell it through. So the question of who is the customer and who's actually buying the product, sometimes is not that clear. Let me give you another example. Do you know what this is? Anyone?
It's a bike repair station?
Excellent. So it's a bike repair station, and it's installed on certain areas around the city. And the question is, who's the customer for that? So when I ask that question, many people say, well, yeah, it's the bike riders. Well, the bike riders don't pay for this. It's a free service station. So who pays for this? Well, you get to the point. Well, we kind of continue the discussion, and eventually I say, well, it's the municipality. I said, well, yeah, but who's the customer? Well, it's their purchasing department. Well, the purchasing department actually buys this, but who is the customer? So I won't take you through all this process, but I would claim that the customer is really the mayor. I mean, do you think, let's take a cold-hearted mayor for this matter, okay? Do you think he really cares, that about reducing the number of cars in the city or about pollution in the city? What the mayor really cares about is getting reelected. And if what he hears from his customers that they want to have less cars in the city and they want to have more people using bikes or alternative transportation, so pollution will go down, he's going to invest in a repair station because that's what's going to get him reelected. So once again, identifying the customer is a crucial part of identifying the problem. When we define a problem, we define a pair, problem, customer. Another challenge or mistake that entrepreneurs make, by the way, stop me for questioning. I know I'm kind of running on this very quickly, but maybe I'll take a pause. Any questions so far? Okay, good. I stun you. Okay. Another mistake or whatever that entrepreneurs make is that they look at they look at its symptoms rather on the root cause. An exercise I was doing in my class, typically I take one of the guys, one of the men in the class, and I ask them, look, you have a headache, what do you do? And he'll say, well, I'm going to take an Advil or something. I said, great. So, a day has passed, next day, get up in the morning, you still have a headache. What do you do? Well, I'll take another pill. And I said, for the next day, once again, you get up in the morning, you still have a headache. What are you going to take? What am I going to do? Well, I'll take another pill. And it's like, are you stupid? If you have a headache one day, you're taking a pill, fine. But if you have a headache 3 days in a row, it's a symptom. Something's wrong. That's not normal. If you have a headache 3 days in a row, you need to go see a doctor and you need to look beyond the symptoms. And many of us as entrepreneurs, we look at symptoms and we think that these are actually the problems that we need to fix. We have a headache, so yeah, let's get a pill. That's what's going to solve that problem. Let me give you a quick story here on that, and actually present a tool that we use to try and get away from the symptom and get to the root cause. And that tool is called the 5 whys. Basically, when you identify a problem, you dig into it by asking why 5 times and trying to say, why is this a problem? And when someone answers, you say, well, why did you answer this way? And so forth. Let's look at an example. So let's say I'm just visiting now a new development area. There are 200 homes in that area, and it's all just bare land. It's all flat land. It's all bare land. There's nothing there. And I see someone building something and ask him, hey, what are you trying to get done? He said, well, I'm building a fence. And I'm saying, wow, this is a great opportunity. I'm an entrepreneur. So, there are 200 homes here. It's all, flat land. There's nothing there. There are no fences, nothing. I'm going to set up a company to sell fences. And I am going to have, all kinds of fences from different material, wood and metal and hardened plastic and what have you. And that, wow, I'm going to make a fortune here. 200 homes. There's nothing here. And I'm asking the guy, so why are you building a fence? And he says, well, so I can surround my front yard. And I'm thinking, hey, what he's really concerned about is security. He wants to surround his home with a fence, so no one's going to come there and, wow, that's even a better idea. I got 200 homes here. They're all probably going to be concerned about security. So I'm actually going to set up a security company. I'm not only going to sell fence, I'm also going to send all kinds of cameras and then night vision and automatic gates opening and closing. And this is a way better idea. I'm going to make way more money because it's technology, it's complex, it's going to be barriers to entry to this market are higher, and I'm a technology person, so it's easy for me. And I say, why are you building why do you want to surround your front yard? They said, well, so I can plant a garden. I think, wow, I'm so stupid. This is so simple. 200 homes here. There's nothing here. I'm just going to set a shop to sell, plants and flowers and everything, so they can plant trees and whatever in their backyards and grass and everything. Much simpler, I don't have to invest so much money. It's easier. I'm just going to take a piece of land and get all kinds of plants there and seeds and flowers and trees and whatever. I'm going to make a lot of money. It's much easier, So why do you want to plant a garden? Well, because I want to grow my own food. Even better. So in my shop, I'm also going to have, all kinds of food, all kinds of trees that, and seeds for tomatoes and for cucumbers. And I'm going to make tons of money. And, why do you want to grow your own food? Well, so I can save money on groceries. The guy wants a Walmart next to his home, or one of these low-cost grocery stores. So all this questioning, and what I actually found is that coming out of the symptom, or if you like, the phantom need, I actually realized what the real need is. What the real need is Carrefour next to their home, or someplace where they can get groceries for cheap. And this whole idea is about setting up a company to do, fences and security, whatever. This is not really the real need. 5 whys is a very powerful technique to get to the root cause. It's also very annoying. After the 3rd why, you don't have an answer. So, don't try this at home. But it is very helpful, and it is one of the ways to get away from symptoms or phantom needs to identifying a real market need. The next one is, or if you like, the next challenge or mistake is that we make a lot of assumptions. Many entrepreneurs like to basically stay in their, in their office or in their home and talk about the customers and what they're going to do for them. And really, everything that you say in the room is an assumption. It's an assumption about the customer, about who's going to enjoy the product, what is going to be the product, the business model, the competition. The only way to go through the facts is to go out there and talk to potential customers about their problems, not about your solution, about the problem you identified. You need to get out of the building, get out of the office, get out of talking, among yourself, the team that is coming up with an idea. And everything that you talk in the room, list it as an assumption, and then go out there and check your assumptions with the market. Let's see a quick video on that and see kind of the difference between making assumptions and making the market research.
We're told, don't ask your mum if your business idea is a good one. She'll just say yes, because she loves you, of course. The mum test is a set of simple rules for crafting good questions that even your mum can't lie to you about. Let's have 2 conversations and see what we can learn. Mum, I've got a business idea. Can I tell you about it? Of course, dear. You like your iPad, right? Do you use it a lot? Yes. OK. So would you ever buy an app which was like a cookbook for your iPad? And it only cost £20. That's cheaper than your hardbacks on the shelf. Well, and you can share recipes with your friends. And there's an iPhone app which is your shopping list. And videos of that celebrity chef you love. Yes, dear. That sounds amazing. £20 is fine. Will it have pictures of the recipes? Yes, definitely. Thanks, Mum. I'm going to quit my job and put all my savings into my new startup. Won't you have some lasagna? That conversation led us down the garden path. The mum test is about talking to your customers about their life, not your idea. It's about discussing specifics in the past instead of generics or opinions about the future. It's about talking less and listening more. Let's do it again right this time. Hey, Mum, how's the new iPad? Oh, I love it. I use it every day. What do you usually do on it? Oh, you know, read the news, play Sudoku, catch up with my friends. What's the last thing you did on it? Well, Dad and I are off on holiday. I was looking where to stay. Did you use an app for that? No, I just used Google. What app should I use? How did you find out about the other apps you have? The Sunday paper has a section on the apps of the week. Makes sense. By the way, I saw a couple of new cookbooks on the shelf. Where did those come from? Oh, they're one of those things you just end up getting at Christmas. I think Doreen gave me that one. Haven't even opened it. As if I need another lasagna recipe at my age. Time to refine my idea. We discovered many insights in that conversation to help us adjust our idea. It just goes to show, if you can get useful business information from Mum, you can get it from anyone. The Mum Test.
Okay. So, the last one we spoke about was assumptions. When we are in the room, we have assumptions and we need to go out there to the market and talk to potential customers. And you saw here an example of the child and the mom. One scenario is a case where we're actually selling our solution to someone. And if you like, this is kind of the ugly baby syndrome. Mom says, yeah, great idea, go for it, of course. And the second one is when we actually interview the customer, trying to understand their problem and looking at our assumptions, trying to verify our assumptions through that discussion. The last point I want to talk about is that when we come to identify a market problem, we typically look at what's happening today. And really what we need to do is look at the future and what's going to happen, in the next 5 to 10 years. So we can do something which is ahead of the future. And by that, bring much more value to our solution. Before I do that, I'll just stop here for a second. Just ask you guys if you have any questions or clarifications on that. And if not, we'll go to the next section.
I have a comment.
Yes,
which is actually contradict everything that you and most of the people in the field says. I claim that actually there's no need for a need in order to develop something new, because that's the meaning of innovation. There wasn't any need for smartphone. But today you can't live without a smartphone. So what I claim is actually that whoever invented the smartphone also invented the need. And I can give more examples, even the car.
So I beg to differ. Since I'm old enough to actually know how the industry started, there was clearly a need for communication capabilities. If you want to do it in the cell phone manner or other, that's fine. But there was clearly a need for communication. It started with satellite phones that were manufactured by Motorola, very nice suitcases that the people actually went around with to communicate around the world. And as the world today is everything's getting faster and faster. There was more and more need, and there was a need to find a cheaper, nicer way to do that. As for the car, you may say that there was no need for transportation, but there was a need for transportation. And just to give you an example for a problem, if you were to try to walk in the streets of London in the early 1900s, you would probably find yourself walking in about, half a meter or maybe, 30 centimeters, half a meter of horse shit. That was a major problem in all the streets of London. They were just full with horse shit. It's a true story. So clearly having horse cartridges was a problem that was need to be solved. And I can go on and on, but it's a good point. We'll leave it there, not because I want to get out of this discussion, but because I want to move on, and I have about another 5-6 minutes. But good point, and thank you. So let's get back to the presentation here. So how do you identify a real game changer or a problem that kind of gets, if you like, getting out of today and trying to predict the future? There are a couple of methods. Sorry, there are a couple of methods of doing that. I'm going to present just one today, just because we have very brief time. And the one I'm going to talk about today is something called a category queen. And let's start with an example. And if you don't mind, just because lack of time, I'm just going to talk it through without giving time to, without asking you questions and waiting for you to answer them. So DIY, do-it-yourself, it's a method, if you like, that was known, for many, many years. I remember walking in the streets of London, probably, 34 years ago, and many stores had DIY on them. You could walk in and buy something and build it yourself. And remember myself, I actually lived quite a few years in the States. When I moved to the States as a student, a very poor student, I needed a desk. So I went to Sears and I bought this do-it-yourself desk. It came in a very big card box, and barely dragged it into my miniature apartment. Built the desk. I still have a few screws available till today, but the desk was standing fine. And then I needed a closet, so I went to Target and I bought a do-it-yourself closet. And then came IKEA. And what really IKEA did? Why is IKEA so successful as opposed to all the separate stores out there that sell different parts that you can build yourself? The big difference is that IKEA looked at the problem from a different perspective. The issue was not do it yourself. The issue was, how do I furnish my home? And in one trip to IKEA, you can buy the closet, the desk, the closet in the bathroom, and the mirror in the bathroom, and the hangers for the forgot the word for a second. The things you wipe your hands with, and even the little plastic plants to make your home look a bit nicer. So you get to one place where you can get everything you need, and you do it yourself, and you build yourself the whole furniture for your whole home. So they look at the problem differently. It was not the issue of do it yourself, get it cheap. It was the issue, how do I furnish myself, my home, very easily, one-stop shop. Let's look at another example that may clarify that. I'm sure you all recognize this. This is the Hoover vacuum cleaner. And you probably know that in the States, when you want to say that you're vacuum cleaning, you're basically saying I'm hoovering. So it became, a verb. And Hoover, in the 90s of the previous century, was the dominant and the leading brand for vacuum cleaners. And everyone else in the market, when they were trying to compete in this market, they competed on features. So if there was another company making a vacuum cleaner, they'd probably say, well, we have a longer cord, or we have different colors, not just red, and we have 10 colors. Or we have a bigger trash bag at the back. As you probably know, at the back of this device, there was this trash bag where all the dirt from vacuum cleaning would get together. And at some point, you needed to actually take this bag out and replace it with a clean bag. And one day, all of a sudden, came another company, and it's called Dyson. And what happened with Dyson? What was the difference between Dyson and Hoover on the other and all the other vacuum cleaners at that time, and actually even today? The big difference is that Dyson does not have a bag of dirt. Dyson realized that actually what at that point in the 1990s, what we really, all that stuff, all that we hate about vacuum cleaning was the dirt bag. Because that dirt bag, at some point you need to replace it, and you take it out and the dirt spills and then you have to clean it, or God forbid, the dirt bag tears apart and everything spreads over. Or if you're actually able to take it out, everything is fine. You go to the closet and you figure out, wow, I forgot to buy new ones. And everything, so the problem was not anymore vacuum cleaning. The problem that customers experienced was this dirt bag. I really don't like it. I want to get rid of it. So Dyson looked at the problem from a different perspective. They didn't try to compete with Hoover on how long their power cord is, or their suction power, or because which was very sufficient anyway at the time, or anything else. They really wanted to compete on a different dimension. They look at the problem from a different perspective, and they created a new category. By creating a new category, Dyson became the category queen, what we call the category queen. The category queen is that entity that actually defines how the category looks like. I'm going to kind of skip this slide for a second, and let's look for another example. Blockbuster. To those of you who are not familiar, Blockbuster, when it came out, was really the category queen. Back many years ago, the only way to watch a film was either to go to a movie theater and buy a ticket and watch the movie, or go into a store and buy a VHS cassette, or later on a DVD, pay around, I don't know, $35, $40, and you can take this VHS cassette home and watch the video. Blockbuster came with a new perspective on the market. They said, look, there is a new way of consuming videos or film. They opened up stores all around the United States, and in these stores they had thousands of VHS movies, and you can actually rent them for the weekend for, I don't know, just a couple of dollars. And now for $2, $3 you can get a movie for the weekend, and come Sunday you can just bring it back and give it back to them. And research showed that 30% of the people walking into Blockbuster came out with a movie that they wanted to see. Other 30% came out did not find what they want to see and came up with another movie. And the last 30% actually didn't buy anything. And for that matter, at that time, Blockbuster was the category queen. They actually defined a new category, a new way of looking at things. Interestingly enough, a few years later, Netflix come on, and Netflix says, look, this is not all about renting movies. It's about consuming entertainment. And we want to define the whole new way of consuming entertainment. It's not just moving. It's watching TV series, doing binging, and movies, and documentaries, and basically a whole new way of consuming entertainment at home. And this is what we know as Netflix today. And by becoming the category queen of streaming entertainment, every company that came after Netflix basically look at Netflix as a standard. When Disney came out with their streaming service, they said, oh, we're like Netflix. And when Amazon came out with their streaming service, they said, oh, we are like Netflix. Netflix actually set the standard because they set a new category and became a category queen. So really, as entrepreneurs, what we would like to do is to identify new market categories by looking differently at an existing problem. And this is what Dyson has done, what IKEA has done, what Netflix has done. They actually look at the same problem from a different perspective. Here's another company that has done this. Airbnb will use it. How to identify a new category? Three kind of big classes for that. One, to identify the problem that no one addressed before. So, Blockbuster actually at the very beginning identified a problem that there was no way to see a movie other than buying the whole video or going into a movie theater. And they said, well, here's an opportunity. We're actually going to rent them. Another way is to look at the same market need, but with a dramatically different solution. If you look at the photo on the right side here, This is a photo of one of the first cars. It looks very similar to a horse carriage. And really, the name for cars at the very beginning was horseless carriages. So cars at the very beginning were a new category. There were horse carriages and there were horseless carriages. And this is actually what Ford eventually, if you like, set a new category, which was the horseless carriage, which became an automobile and so forth. And the third method to do that is to address a different market segment altogether, something that no one actually addressed before, or something which is, or a market segment which is very well defined, like we talked earlier, Rolex and Ferrari. So what we really look to do is to define a new market category, and just, here's a list of the benefits when you are the category queen. When you're the leader, you have the most data on the market, you can make better business decisions. Everyone wants to work with you, if it's government or other partner, and so on and so forth. So one of the techniques, one of the methods to, if you like, predict the future or look beyond today, and identifying a substantial market need or problem, is to try and look differently at what's happening today and try and look at problems differently, not respond to the market, but really create a new category for that. And this is kind of what I had to say to you today, present to you today. I'm going to leave you with two thoughts before we finish. So one thought is I'm hoping or expecting that all of you know what unicorns are. Unicorns are startup companies that have either listed on stock exchange at a valuation of excess of $1 billion, or that have been acquired for $1 billion or more. And one of the things to know is 80% of unicorns are the result of pivot. Pivot is actually when we change our original idea for a startup to something similar or different from what we came up with at the beginning. What I'm trying to say by this slide is that if you have a startup idea and you start investigating, talking to customers, and you realize you need to change it, change is not something bad. Change is actually an opportunity. And as we can see here, 80% of those companies that have become unicorns are a result of pivots. And lastly, the future does not happen to us. It happens because of us. It's all in your hands, guys, to make it happen. So with that, thank you very much.
Yair, thank you so much. That was an amazing, and I definitely learned a lot by your session. And let's open the platform for Q&A. Feel free to send it to the message box or ask Yair directly. Well, somebody did have a comment. Let me open here. Okay. Sorry. Apologize, I lost it here. There we go. So there are some key exceptions to some of the qualifiers being made, and those apply to the life sciences. It's not apparently clear that a solution is technology feasible or viable from a business perspective. Look at biotech, immune therapies, things of that sort. Would you like
I agree.
to? Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I mean, there are to every rule, there are exceptions, and yes, everything that has to do with the medical space. In some places, technology is mature and we can do a lot of things, and in some areas, we're still learning. We still don't understand. We still do not understand how the human brain works. There's a lot to be learned there. So yeah, so the medical space, it's definitely a challenge still today, and there is an exception to what I said, absolutely. Anyone else? Any questions, any thoughts? Okay.
All right.
Back to you.
Last call before we close. All right. Well, Yair, on behalf of Paul Mirage and the Mirage Institute, thank you so much for taking the time today to enlighten our Mirage tribe. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
יאיר, תודה רבה, אני מאוד נהניתי מההרצאה.
תודה, ישי. תודה רבה לך.
איפה אתה ממוקם, בארץ?
כן, אני מנהל את מרכז היזמות באוניברסיטת תל אביב.
יפה.
ומרצה בפקולטה להנדסה.
אז כן, אז פיסקתי את זה, ופעם הבאה שאני אבוא, אני גם אדאג שניפגש. ובכלל אפשר להרחיב קצת את השיתוף פעולה, אתה יודע, בין הפעילות שלנו עכשיו שחוזרת למתכונת חזרה של, אתה יודע, אנחנו הרי מזמינים מנהלים של חברות סטארט-אפ ישראליות ללמוד איך לעשות עסקים באמריקה. וההשפעה של התוכנית, אני חושב, היא דרמטית.
ההשפעה של מה, סליחה?
של התוכנית הזאת. זה שבועיים מאוד אינטנסיביים, אנחנו לא מעורבים בכספים, אנחנו לא משקיעים, ואנחנו רק מתעסקים בהבנה של איך חושב השוק האמריקאי, דרך החשיבה של המנהלים של החברות האמריקאיות, בין אם זה חברות סטארט-אפ, חברות גדולות, או חברות שהן מתעסקות בהשקעות של כספים ובחברות וכדומה. וההבנה של דרך החשיבה שלהם נותנת כלים להבין איך הדרך הנכונה לתקוף את הנושאים האלה שאתה יכול להשיג איתם. בין אם זה איך הם תוקפים בעיות של שיווק ומחירות והתנהלות בשוק האמריקאי, לשיתופים, איך הם מסתכלים על שיתופים אסטרטגיים, מה הציפיות שלהם, מה היכולת שלהם לתת, איך התהליכים, מה אורך התהליכים האלה וכו'. וגם בנושא של המשקיעים, ההבנה של איך אנג'ל חושב, להבדיל מאיך ש-VC חושב, וההבנה של המודלים העסקיים שלהם והציפיות שלהם גם כן, נותנים כלים להבין את הדרך הנכונה האסטרטגית לתקוף ולהתמודד עם הנושאים האלה כשאתה מגיע אליהם. אני אעבור רגע למצלמה, אני פשוט הייתי באמצע נהיגה. בקיצור,
קודם אני מסכים איתך, תראה, אני לא יודע שהוא קריסי ככה רץ על זה, אבל אני עבדתי 10 שנים בארצות הברית, הייתי 5 שנים בהנהלה של אינטל ו5 שנים בהנהלה של 3Com, שבזמנו הייתה חברה כמו סיסקו, דאטה נטוורקינג, והתמזגה עם HP. ב-3Com למשל, בשנה וחצי האחרונות, ניהלתי את הקרן הון סיכון של החברה, ועשיתי לא מעט השקעות, הייתי אחראי להשקעות באירופה ובישראל. חזרתי עם זה, כבר חזרתי לארץ אחרי 10 שנים, חזרתי לארץ כבר אז, ובאינטל גם הייתי מעורב לא מעט בהשקעות, אז אני בהחלט מכיר את שוב, זה קצת מזמן, אתה יודע, אבל העקרונות לא השתנו בהרבה.
נכון, נכון. אז אם יש דרך אני נותן את זה, אתה יודע, כחומר למחשבה, כי אנחנו בתור ארגון, אנחנו קטנים, מצומצמים ומהירים בהחלטות, בכיוונים, במחשבות, שבסוף, מאחר ואין לנו מודל עסקי בתוך הדבר הזה, המודל המרכזי שלנו הוא איך באמת לתת כלים טובים יותר אתה יודע, לתעשייה הישראלית, לבוא לשוק האמריקאי ולהיות בו יותר יעילים, ולנצל את הזמן יותר נכון. חלק מאוד חשוב אגב כמובן הוא גם ההכרה היומיומית, אתה יודע שאנחנו כן עושים כל מיני פעילויות שמחברות את הקהילה העסקית הישראלית שמגיעה לקהילה העסקית האמריקאית, וגם הייתי אומר, הדינמיקה הקבוצתית שנוצרת בתוך הקבוצה בגלל המגוון של הניסיון ושל התחומים שאנשים באים, אתה יודע, בסוגים שונים של חברות ומסוגים שונים של גילאים והתנסויות, אז הדינמיקה הקבוצתית הזאת בתוך השבועיים האלה היא גם כן מאוד משמעותית. מה שאני חושב שאם יש לך איזשהם מחשבות על איך אפשר לשפר, לשלב, להביא חבר'ה שאתם מעורבים איתם או משהו מהסוג הזה, אז זה פתוח לדיון, מחשבה משותפת או מה שתמצא לנכון.
אני אשמח לחשוב גם איך אנחנו יכולים לתרום, אני חושב שזה מאמץ מאוד חשוב. יש לנו קשר חזק מאוד למיראז' שלא נמצא מודע, אבל אתי פינקלשטיין עובדת אצלי במרכז היזמות.
כן, כן, אני מודע, והיא נהדרת אגב, בחורה מדהימה.
תותחית
כן.
על. אז באמת, אחת השותפויות שבאמת הציפה מן הסתם, זה באמת האפשרות לקחת את בוגרי האקסלרטור שלנו. יש לנו גם מישן מעבר לזה, לא נכנסנו יותר מדי, אבל אחת המטרות שלי באוניברסיטה זה גם נושא של קידום חברה משותפת, ערבים יהודים, ולצורך זה בין היתר אני הקמתי את האקסלרטור הזה. אני רצתי אותו בהתחלה 3 מחזורים בעצמי, ואז הבאתי את אתי כי צריך להיות עמוס מדי. אבל זה אקסלרטור יהודי ערבי, שבו אנחנו דואגים תמיד שכל מחזור מוקם ל-50% משתתפים מהחברה הערבית, 50% מהחברה היהודית. אני
חשבתי
זכרתי...
ש-8200 עשו התעסקו עם הסוג הזה של העניינים.
8200 היה להם אקסלרטור לחברה הערבית. אני לא חושב שאף אחד עשה משהו שהפוקוס שלו היה משולב. אני גם לקחתי חברה חיצונית שתעשה מחקר בלתי תלוי על ההשפעות התרבותיות של התוכנית הזאת, והתוצאות האמת ממש ממש יפות. ברור שמי שמגיע לתוכנית שהיא מעורבת יהודים ערבים, יש לו איזושהי גישה חיובית כזו או אחרת כלפי האחר, אבל הצלחנו להראות מדדים באופן שהם משמעותיים סטטיסטית, על שיפור בכל מדדים, על הנכונות לקבל את הנרטיב של האחר, לעבוד עם האחר, לשמור קשרים חודשים אחרי עם האחר. ומצד שני יש לנו גם תוצאות לא רעות. תשמע, עברו דרכנו ב5 שנים שאנחנו רצים עם אתי, עברו דרכנו קצת מעל 100 סטארט-אפים, מתוכם 20% הצלחה שגייסו כסף מעל $180 מיליון.
יפה מאוד.
כן,
יפה
אז
מאוד.
אני חושב שהרעיון של להביא אותם שבועיים יחד איתכם בארצות הברית הוא פנטסטי. אבל אתה יודע, שווה אולי, אם אתה, אני מניח שאתה לא מהארץ כרגע, אם הבנתי ממך נכון.
לא, לא, אני בקליפורניה.
נפלא. איפה בקליפורניה?
ובארווין.
בארווין? וואלה.
כן.
כן, אני הייתי בצפון, הייתי צפונה יותר, אנחנו גרנו בפרימונט הרבה שנים, בסאוף ביי. אבל כשאתה מגיע, אולי שווה להיפגש, לחשוב על מה עוד אפשר לעשות בשביל באמת לקדם ולעזור ליזמים ישראלים להצליח בארצות הברית.
כן, אתה יודע גם שהבאנו, אני חסיד גדול של שילוב ערבים ישראלים בתוכניות, וכל אלה שהבאנו לפה במסגרת התוכנית, לא היו המונים כאלה לצערי, כי אני לא מאמין גדול בשיטה של הקווטר דווקא, אלא בשיטה שכן למצוא מי שמתאים ואתה יודע, ולתת לו חצי נקודת זכות. אבל באמת לחפש את זה בצורה אקטיבית, ואני מאוד בעניין, וכל החבר'ה שהבאנו היו מדהימים, חלקם אגב היו, אתה יודע, טעונים נקרא לזה, שזה בסדר, זה בסדר, זה חלק מה שאנחנו חיים, ואני דווקא שמחתי שהם נתנו לעצמם את האפשרות כאילו להיות מי שהם, ולא הרגישו מספיק בנוח בשביל להוציא את המטענים החוצה, ולא רק לשמור אותם בפנים. והאמת שהייתה אחת הקבוצות שאני חושב על זה, שהייתה באמת, עשיתי שם ניסוי באנשים, הייתי אומר, היה שם איזה בחור שמאלני, רוסיה מטורפת לגמרי, כאילו ברמת הימניות שלה, שהייתה איומה, 2 ערבים, בחור דתי, חרדי, ושמנו את כולם שם ככה שבועיים בתוך הבוילינג הזה, והיה להם קשה. בסוף השבועיים שתבין, אתה יודע, השערות סומרות לי שאני חושב על זה, בסוף השבועיים האלה, הרוסיה המשוגעת, אמרה לבחור הערבי שאם הוא היה מציע לבת שלה להתחתן איתה, היא הייתה מסכימה.
וואו.
זה היה פשוט ענק. ואתה יודע, והחבר'ה האלה, אתה יודע, ערבי, אחד מהם היה ממש ממש טעון בהתחלה, אתה יודע, הוא קם בזה עם הזקנקן ועם האף ככה למעלה, ואמר, המשפחה שלי, אתה יודע, בכוונה לא אומר שמות וזה של חברות, כדי לא להפוך את זה לאיזה, אנחנו מגדלים את מה שאנחנו מגדלים כבר 3,000 שנה. אתה מבין, המסר היה, אנחנו פה 3,000 שנה, אתם אורחים שלנו. ככה עם זה, ככה, היו קטעים, ואני לוקח אותם לאיזה בית כנסת, אני קורא לזה צ'רצ'יה, רפורמית כזאת, אבל לא חשוב, בשבילם בית כנסת זה בית כנסת. ויש הרבה חששות שהם באים, ואתה יודע, הם באים, היה לנו זוג אחר של ערבים באחת התוכניות האחרות, שקראתי להם הנסיכים, הם באו לרבנים בסוף האירוע של הקבלת שבת, והם אמרו שפעם ראשונה שהם היו בבית כנסת אי פעם, ואם זה ככה, הם רוצים לבוא שבוע הבא עוד פעם.
תשמע, זה ממש לא פשוט, ואני באמת שבוע הבא אנחנו נתחיל את המחזור השמיני של האקסלרטור, ואני בכל פתיחת של כל מחזור אני אומר לחברים, אנחנו פה ללמוד בשביל לבוא ולייצר משהו חדש, וזה בסדר גמור שכל אחד ישמור על הזהות שלו ועל המחשבות שלו להתמודד עם הקשיים שלו. המטרה שלנו פה לייצר איזשהו בייסליין בתחום הייזום, כדי שאתם כולכם תהיו באותו leveling the playing field, כן? שכל מי שנמצא בחדר הזה יסיים את התוכנית, שהוא יודע איך להקים את המיזם הבא שלו. מפה תיקחו את זה לאן שאתם רוצים, אני באמת לא בא לשנות וכולי. לא היה לנו טאקלים או בעיות, אבל ברור שיש איזה פיל בחדר. אנחנו גם עושים סשן שלם על הנושא של עבודת צוות איתם, כדי לחשוף את הדברים קצת. תשמע, אנחנו גם הוזמנו עכשיו, הוזמנו לפני, מה זה היה? זה היה ביולי או אוגוסט, אני חושב, לא סליחה, בספטמבר, 1 ספטמבר, לאוניברסיטת קונטיקט, ונפגשנו שם עם נציגים מאוניברסיטאות מארצות ערב, שזה היה מדהים, היה שם נציגים ממרוקו, ירדן, ערב הסעודית, בחריין, איחוד האמירויות, הגיע מישהו מלבנון, שהיא כתבת, ומישהו אקס סורי, ואנחנו מדברים על לעשות עכשיו האקתון שישלב אוניברסיטאות מישראל וארצות ערב, שוב לייצר את השיתוף פעולה הזה. אתה יודע, מנסים לייצר איזשהו grassroots movement לדברים האלה.
כן, זה לא יעזור לנו בטווח הארוך, אנחנו נפסיק, אבל אין מה לעשות, זה לא אומר שלא צריך לנסות. אני אגיד לך, בטווח הארוך פשוט הקיצוניות תופסת מקום רחב יותר ויותר בתפיסת העולם של האנשים, ואני חושב שהניסיון לרכך את האנשים רק הולך ונעשה קשה יותר, או לפתוח את האנשים. אגב, זה נכון לכל התחומים, לאו דווקא ליחסים יהודים, מוסלמים, ערבים, זה נכון גם לגבי כמעט כל תחום, הדברים יוצאים לגמרי לקיצוניות שהולכת ומחריפה.
זה מפחיד, זה נראה כמו, אתה יודע, העולם הולך לקראת איזושהי מלחמת עולם שלישית, כי בסוף זה מה שקרה במלחמת העולם השנייה, ועד שזה הגיע להתפוצצות, ואחרי זה אנשים התעשתו, ולקח לנו 100 שנה, לא פחות, אנחנו 70 שנה, אחרי קצת יותר, בשביל להידרדר חזרה לאותו מצב, זה ממש...
אני אגיד לך רק מה ההבדל. ההבדל בעיניי הוא שבזמנו, המטרות שנקרא לזה של הרעים, והמטרות של הטובים היו ברורות וממוקדות. היום השנאה היא מטרה רחבה, אנשים שונאים בשביל לשנוא, הם מחפשים את האחר שלא מתאים להם ולא חשוב מה הוא יהיה, ואתה רואה את זה בא לידי ביטוי, שאתה רואה חברות שונות במקומות שונים, עם קונפליקטים אחרים לגמרי שהם בכלל לא בהכרח קונפליקטים רלוונטיים. כל אחד מוצא לעצמו את הדרך מבחינת החברה שבה הם מסתובבים, לא לקבל את הצד השני של החברה. זה לא משהו ממוקד, זה לא מלחמת עולם, אתה יודע שיש לך ברור מה שהחלק אחד רוצה וברור מה שהחלק השני רוצה. נראה לי שזה מורכב מאוד.
כן, מורכב, תשמע, הסיפורים, מה שקרה עכשיו בבחירות עם טראמפ, זה הלם טוטלי, ממש הלם.
כן, אני לא בטוח אבל שאם זה היה הפוך, זה היה מקטין מההלם. אני חושב שזה היה הלם בכל כיוון שזה היה הולך אליו. כי יכול להיות, אגב, בלי, אתה יודע, להיכנס לצד כזה או אחר, אני חושב ששניהם מועמדים כמועמדים אישיים רעים, אבל כמגמות, נגיד, חברתיות, אם הצד השני היה זוכה, בוא נגיד ככה, שני הצדדים פה הם משוגעים. והמשמעות של זה, שגם אם הצד השני היה זוכה, אז הייתה באה קבוצה קיצונית בתוך הצד השני, והייתה טוענת שהניצחון הגיע בזכותה, ולכן כולם היו לוקחים את זה מספיק ברצינות, בשביל להמשיך באותו קו מטורף של פגיעה בשיטור ובשלטון החוק ובסדר הציבורי ובבטיחות האישית.
זה ממש לא יאמן.
זה מין סוג של lose-lose situation בדבר הזה.
והקטע הזו, אתה יודע, שאנחנו מסתכלים על זה מבחוץ, ואנחנו רואים את זה, והחוסר אונים הזה של אחד, איך זה יכול להיות, ושתיים, איך עוצרים את זה, אתה יודע, זה מין... זה ברור שזה הולך להיות הרבה יותר רע מרע, זאת אומרת, אתה מגיע לאזורים של הדיסטופיות למיניהם.
נכון.
anyway, תשמע, בעולמנו הקטן, כן.
בדיוק, בעולמנו הקטן, אם יהיה לך איזושהי מחשבה של איך אפשר לשתף פעולה, בצורה שתתרום חיובית לחברה בישראל, בכל דרך שהיא, אנחנו בעניין.
אני אשמח, ואנא ממך, פעם הבאה שאתה מגיע לארץ, זרוק איזה אימייל ונעשה קפה, נחשוב על זה ביחד. תמיד זה קצת עוזר שיושבים ביחד, נביא אולי גם את אתי לשיחה, ונחשוב מה עוד עושים. אני מאוד אשמח.
ושוב, תודה רבה, הייתה הרצאה מרתקת, אני מאוד נהניתי ממנה.
תודה רבה, תודה על ההזדמנות. יופי. יאללה, שיהיה יום טוב.
לילה טוב.
תודה, לילה טוב.
ביי. ביי, ערן.